right, y'all. So it's your girl Tiff, and I'm starting today. I haven't streamed in a, a long time. I haven't streamed in a long time at all. And I took a break from podcasting. As y'all know, I'm more of a. I hope you can hear me. I don't know how my sound sounds. I'll find out later. But as you know, I used to do. I'm a real estate agent by trade. I'm a real estate agent, and um, yeah, I used to do trading. I used to do a lot of things, and I used to have a platform where I would invite people on that was like industry leaders to talk about anything that was housing, investing, community connectors. But this time it's more um, serious. And I was challenged. I've been listening to a lot of different content creators. I consider myself a influencer, not more so a content creator. I don't like to jump on the bandwagons, so to speak. I don't like to do those kind of things. But this particular thing is like very um, true to who I am as a person, and for several different reasons. One, because those, what I'm going to tell you, that kind of stuff happened to me. And a lot of people that I know, it affects a lot of people in the community. And people like in the black community, they sweep this kind of stuff under the rug and bypass it when it should be talked about, right? So today what I'm talking about is specifically is really in regards to the young ladies that have been preyed upon. I'm talking about Naziya Harris, um, Janiya Rogers, Kei'Mani Latigue, and London, and a countless uh, other young women that this has happened to. And I was just listening to, one of my favorite content creators in this um, realm is Toot. And I like her. She cracks me up. She's not trying to be funny, but sometimes uh, when she does her reaction videos, she gets to laugh, and I'm laughing right with her. So I can really connect with her. I like Miss Parker and a couple of the other big ones. I've listened to Mocha. I don't really, so I kind of veer away from her, but I haven't listened to every single person in that space. I'm kind of connected to Toot. I really like that they put that work in, honestly, and they put it like, I don't know if you guys understand this, being a content creator, having a podcast, doing that thing, it's a lot of work, man. It's a lot of time you spend prepping just for the show, figuring out what you want to say, if you got a script, if you got an interview, if you got guests, all those things. It takes so much time and energy. I know a lot of people think it's easy to just get on here and just talk. It's not, I promise you. It's very, very time consuming. It's hard. You get burned out. It's a lot of different things that affect you. And yeah, so big ups to them for all the hard work. So I'm in no way trying to come behind them and act like I'm some type of an expert when it comes to that, or when it comes to Naziya or any of those kids or that was missing, not at all. I'm not trying to take anybody's shine. But, something that resonated with me was, as long as we keep these kids' names, people won't forget who they are, right? And I'm in Ohio, I'm in Cincinnati. That shit is close to me. I don't know if I can cuss on here, but it's so close to home, you know? Um, Naziya Harris, she's like Detroit. That's like 4 hours from where I live. Kei'Mani Latigue is like an hour from 45 minutes from Detroit. That's in Toledo. That's like 3 hours from me. And what really stood out, I mean, not only was I um to just made a very what's the word I wanted? It was very emotional plea to some of the people that watch content creators on these platforms, and how they disrespectful they was being. And she was like, I challenge you to get on here and do it. And I've been wanting to um, do that. So that was like for me, like, yes, just go ahead and make the content. Just go out and say what you got to say. Your opinion may matter, may not matter. People might not care, you know. I don't know. So, anyways, secondly, um, in the city of Cincinnati, well, just in general, I'm a USA boxing official. So that means I could be a referee, a judge for amateur boxing. So, as you know, most amateur athletes are kids, young people, you know, under 18. There's some older people that are amateurs as well, but the bulk um, are kids. So, you know, when you're dealing with kids, you're dealing with coaches, you're dealing with parents, and these coaches have to be around these kids, right? Well, there were some incidents in no other than Toledo, with some very accusations, and they was pretty big against a pretty big boxing gym there, and against females and maybe males. I'm not sure. Not everything didn't come out, but it kind of blew up. And I kind of had some connections with the people in that family. Obviously, I know them, not to say like we're friends or anything like that, but honestly, I was somebody told me I should speak up about it, and I froze. You know, I didn't want to rock the boat. I didn't want, not because we're friends, but because it's kind of like, um, it's not even taboo, and it's kind of like you really don't want to ruffle feathers because you don't know, because you're not there, what's what. But I always get the benefits of the doubt to the potential victims, right? And so I was leery of saying something. And then I said to myself, I'm kind of being the same type of person that I accuse people of being, and that's the type of people that sweep things under the rug instead of embracing it head on and speaking about it and coming out. And in my opinion, it's BS. Um, it made me really angry that people are preying on these kids. And I don't know if you guys know this. I don't know if Toot or whoever else, but Toledo, Ohio, that Detroit area is a hub for sex trafficking. It's been that way for years because it goes up 75 all the way down. I mean, truckers can come up all the way from freaking Florida all the way up to Canada on 75, and it's a lot of human trafficking. I remember my ex-husband, his cousin went missing some years back, maybe probably about 8, 9, 10 years. She's an adult, but they were spiking people's drinks in the bars. That and stuff was happening to the females, or her and her friend was missing. They couldn't find them, and it was dead winter, and then they ended up finding them deceased. Um, so it's always like, whenever I think about Toledo in Detroit, I always think of sex trafficking, pimps, or SA trafficking. I don't know if I can say that. SA trafficking, pimps, that type of nefarious type of lifestyle. Not that I know personally these people doing these things, but it always sits in my mind. So when I hear stories like about Naziya, about um, Kei'Mani Latigue, which was, I have no word. I mean, it boils my blood. Um, and then hear, you know, Miss Parker talk about, you know, some of the things that was coming out in depositions and the preliminaries, and hearing the transcripts, it makes you sick. It makes you sick. And it's not just the men that are doing these heinous things, it's the women that are complicit, that sit back and let it happen, or don't believe people, or all the people that's involved that let these things fall through the cracks, or that could potentially be involved. Like, you know, let's say for instance it's police or something, um, that's a big money maker, unfortunately. And maybe like a couple weeks ago, I was listening to Tim Tebow, and he was discussing like this whole children. I think his premise was, I think it was like online um, abuse, but I mean, it was like stuff was happening. It wasn't just the sharing of that material, it was like the production of it, the actual act, and then disseminating that out into the world. And he brought up something I couldn't find. I had to dig deeper. I have to do more research. That's the reason why I told you I'm not a real content creator. I'm just an influencer. I would love to be a content creator, but as you know, it takes hours to do research and all these things. And so I'm just getting my feet wet. So eventually I'll have some receipts to show you. But for right now, I'm just going based off memory of what I heard him say. And he had a map from the Department of Justice, and that map showed how many IP addresses had um, shared or consumed something that had to do with children. And it was just in the United States, and it was in 1 month like 114,000 different IP addresses. And he started going through statistics, and he was saying that the number one offender from their um, their research was middle age. I think it was over 40 middle aged Caucasian males, and they were doing that to a lot of the times their own children. There were fathers, there were people that you would just see out, regular people that you would just see out anywhere, regular fathers, and this is what they were doing. And it made me think, like, are those numbers really correct, right? Not to say that they're not from the data that they collected, but when you sit and think about in the black neighborhood or the brown neighborhoods, they sweep under the rug. People are not reporting, or if they do report, nothing's being done. And how many women sit back and either serve their kids up on a platter or turn their attention away, and kids can tell, and nobody does anything, right? And they continue that pattern. And then you see it, continue on, and then it's like, okay, those kids did it. And then the next, when they grow up, they do it to somebody else. And it's like a whole, like you think of Nazia's family, it's like generations generations of it happening, and them doing it to each other, them having it done to them. And it's kind of like it's almost seemed like they trying to make it like a rite of passage type of thing, like, oh, what happened to me can happen to you, it's just your turn type of deal. And that's really, really traumatic and sad to think that they won't protect kids because it happened to them, and they're somehow the victim, instead of saying, hey, let's put a stop. I was a victim, and now I want to make sure that no other kids, that this happens to them, right? And it's just, you can think about that, were the numbers accurate? And why won't we stand up and protect the kids? And it's a really strange phenomenon, why people choose not to do certain things and choose not to protect the most innocent people. I just can't put my finger on it. And then, you tell people, and then you get tired of telling, and you kind of go along with it. So we definitely need, I'm going to still continue on. Like I said, eventually I'll start to bring up receipts. I don't want to step on anybody's toes, or them to think, oh, there's a new content creator trying to come through and scrape up everything after we've done all the work. That's not my point. My point is just to be another person to add to the algorithm, maybe give somebody a different type of feel, different type of vibe. And I'm not gonna do too. I'm not gonna dig too much. I mean, I work so much, um, but I'm gonna do my part as much as I can. And obviously, when the trial gets closer, especially Kei'Mani Latigue's, and then also Naziya Harris, and hopefully we find Janiya Rogers and be a part of that. And then maybe if they have something that, maybe one of the cases like Kei'Mani Latigue or Naziya Harris, one of the days, depending on when the trial and all that happens, I can actually show up and go to court since it's not too far. It's a car ride. I mean, it's not like an easy car ride. It's 4 hours, and yeah, Toledo's not the best place to be, but I could take some time and spend there and do that. And another thing I was just come at the top of my mind, we got to change the mindset. You know, I was talking to somebody before, and a man that I know for a long time, and he feels that men, no matter, they can be 40, 50, so, advanced age, and they can date an 18-year-old. And my thing was, what would you want with an 18-year-old? If you go 18, you go 17. If you go 17, you go 16. That's just my opinion. But why would you do that? It's some 18-year-old kids that's still in high school that haven't even graduated yet. They're not grown. It's just based on, society standards that, oh, you're 18, you're grown, but you're not really grown. You don't really mature until you are, uh, been, aged a little bit, maybe around 25, 26. That's when your body fully matures into the fullness of itself at its best capacity. And also, you mature mentally. You had a chance to either, go to college and, work, have some experience, maybe live on your own, things of that nature. When you're 18, you don't know anything, man. You're very gullible. But a lot of, his mentality, and what you hear a lot of men say when women bring it up, even if it's women that's done this as a teenager. Okay, let's retract. So what they will say is, this came up a lot too with R. Kelly, right? They will say, well, when I was in high school, none of the girls wanted to talk to me, and they was getting picked up by grown men. They was getting picked up by 30-year-old men at school, and they're like, oh, still ain't right. So they feel like even if you were that 15, 16, 17-year-old being picked up by a 30-year-old man, who, by the way, is a predator, right? If you were being picked up by that man, that somehow you can't say anything. You shouldn't have an opinion because you did it. And my thing is, no, that's not how this is supposed to work. Um, you're supposed to be able to um, do better. You know, you're supposed to do better, be better, do better, right? Do better, be better. You should always want, even if that happened to you, it's just like if you're a victim, you shouldn't victimize other kids. You should find a way to make sure that nobody else goes through that. That we don't hold back, that victims, a lot of victims don't say anything because nobody ever do anything. And so that it goes the same with like um, people who've been, assaulted. They don't speak because nothing ever comes up. People don't believe them. So, sorry, y'all. If these women don't speak up, you know, it's going to continue. The cycle continues. So we have to put a stop to the cycle. We can't have grown men, and we need men to step up, men to really step up and stop these grown men from picking up these kids from high school and junior high and doing things like that. We need to protect our babies. We need to protect them, right? That's very, very important. We do not want the cycle to persist. We have to stop that cycle, man. It's just, and we have to be able to speak on it. We have to be able to be open about it and come to terms that this is not right. It's not. Somebody got to protect these kids. shouldn't be getting preyed on. And another story I had, because this came up too, that JR, which I want to call him Jarvis Butts, he was preying on women. And a lot of people want to say it's because, he picked a certain woman because, he think he looks good, right? He like a prize to them. And so you could see like the type of women he was going for. But they were saying how, he was going after women with kids so that he would get them. They would be so happy to be with this man that they would, and then in turn, he would go after their kids. Some years back, before I had got married, I had a daughter. I had a daughter, and then I had another set of kids. And she was small, probably like four, maybe younger than that. I'm gonna say four. I used to go to, I don't know if you guys have Kroger in your area, but there's a Kroger. It's a grocery store. It's pretty like a national chain, but here in Ohio we have Kroger. That's like one of our biggest grocery stores. We just now got Publix, but that's like in Kentucky. But anyways, um, I used to go to Kroger's. Now there's this guy there. Face wise, his face was kind of cute, a little chubby, not my type though, at all. Um, and he was always saying nice things to me, complimenting me, want to take me out to eat, blase this, all this stuff. And he worked there. Okay, he worked in the produce department. I wasn't interested because I wasn't disinterested because he worked there, but I just was disinterested because I just didn't like him. He wasn't my type. Anyways, I seen him a couple times. He was nice. I think a couple times he gave me like flowers or something. And he was telling me all these nice things about me. Oh, you look nice, this and that, blah, blah, blah. And I kept spinning. I'd come up with an excuse to the point where like I just stopped coming to that location altogether, even though it was like the closer one to my apartment. I started going out the way because I was just tired of dealing with him when I went in there, right? So anyway, I go in one day. I go in one day. I didn't see him, but then later I could see the news, and it was doing a story about him. And the story was that he was married. His wife worked there, which I did not know. So when you out here flirting with women and your wife literally works at the same place is beyond me, but okay. Um, but she had grandkids and they have foster kids, and he was essaying the kids. And all I could think about was, damn, I don't even think he wanted me. I think he wanted my daughter. And as a parent, that's all you think about. And it keeps replaying in my mind, like, I always thank God, like, and being when you've been through certain things in your life like that, where as a child you're super highly vigilant. Either you super sensitive to kind of those kind of things. Your instincts are higher. You always side eyeing people. You always want to know what the angle is, and but I was still one of those people that was kind of like, giving people the benefit of the doubt, allowing people to show themselves for who they truly are instead of me just coming to some type of conclusion. But I'm still being vigilant. I'm still watching everything, very observant. But when it was like something in me, maybe it was God. I don't know, but it was some instinct in me was like, no, like kept spinning him, spinning. And that's happened to me, not for this type of thing, but in general, where it's just been like super um, bad people that seem very charismatic and very caring and very loving and all this stuff. And something in me will always point me in a different direction and save me from some of the most heinous people on this earth. I'm not gonna hold you. It's just outright. I can go have stories for days on that. I'll tell you another story about that one other day. But today it's about be vigilant, because Had I had introduced that man to my daughter, I would never have forget, and he would have did something to her. I would first I'd probably be talking to you um, with stripes on. That's number one. But secondly, I would never be able to forgive myself. Never. And that's what confuses me when I see these women and these men either doing something to these kids or just don't show no care. Like, some of these family members of Naziya, and not saying that they don't, I don't know these people personally, but like from some of the interviews I heard a couple of them arguing back and forth, and all they kept talking about was them. What's happening to them and that, and who you did this, you did that, and you ain't this, and being gossipy instead of being like, I feel bad, you know what I'm saying? Like I failed. I allowed somebody to come and do something like this to somebody I care about. That's heavy. I never would have forgiven myself for that. I promise. I mean, it would eat at me every day. And I just thank God that it never happens. And I just try to be the best protector, mother, aunt, um, adult. So this is before I get off of here. If there's any kids, especially in the U.S. boxing realm, amateur young women, man, if you don't have anybody to talk to, and there's some stuff that's happening to you, please, call me, contact me. I'll be happy to help you fill out reports. I'll be happy to listen to you, do whatever to help you get justice, to help you be able to compete and not having to worry about somebody doing something inappropriate to you. It's already hard enough that you got to train to box and it's not that many. And this, and all these girls that was competing at a high level, I hate to say it, something probably, I mean, as a woman in boxing, I see how these men are, and I'm not even a boxer. You know, if anybody is in that position, come and see me. I'll be happy to, you know, help. Even if you need somebody to help talk to your parents or anything like that, just a safe zone that you won't be taken advantage of, because that's what this is all about, man. Like, we got to protect the kids, man. So I feel so bad about Naziya Harris and Janiya and this Kei'Mani Latigue thing. It's just, I don't even have words to formulate what I want to say about that. It's so heinous. Nobody should be treated like that, especially no kid. It's insane. But more about that on justice for them. And I'm going to continue to try to pump out content. I promise I'm not trying to steal from any content creators. I do watch y'all, and I love the content, and I listen to it sometimes while I'm at work. Just because I want to hear what's going on, because that's the most information that I get is from YouTube or Twitch or something like that. I don't get it from the news. I hear things for the first time sometimes from content creators and not from the news, or I had to start going through the dockets and showing up to court. And then at some point, besides this, I'll throw in some boxing things, and also I love reality TV, so maybe I might talk about some reality TV to kind of break it up, so it won't be so heavy all the time. But I definitely want to cover the court cases for Naziya and for Kei'Mani Latigue, and then hopefully we can find Janiya. And there's countless other stories like this, man. We got to protect the kids, y'all. Until next time, I will see you guys later.